Good evening and welcome to the rest of the news. We have a tremendous program lined up for you, and our special guest, we have two of them. One is Ed Holloway here on my left, who is a former state representative, and the other is Michael Connelly from the United States Justice Foundation, who's going to give us an update of what's going on in Washington, I would say. Is that right?
That's correct.
We got a letter from you not too long ago, Mr. Connelly, who's an attorney and has been very active in constitutional issues. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah.
And we were very interested in having you give us some more information about what you wrote in this letter about what the Obama administration is doing and the courts and with the Constitution and all of these things.
Well, the United States Justice Foundation, we're working on a number of different areas involving constitutional issues. And I've written articles on my blog on a lot of different things, one of which is the Iran Treaty, which is in fact a treaty. And there we basically got sold out by a lawless president and a lawless Congress. But what they did with that treaty is a treaty has to be approved, once signed by the president, has to be approved by the United States Senate by a 2/3 majority. That's in the Constitution. That was not done in this case. What Congress then did was they told the president, we won't have you submitted to the Senate, we'll let you call it executive agreement. And then they turned around and they took Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution and basically turned it on its head. Now that is the article that allows the president to veto legislation passed by Congress. And then 2/3 majority of both houses is needed to override that veto. What Congress said, and this is the Republicans in both houses of Congress that agreed to it, what Congress said is that we're going to change Article 1, Section 7 of the Constitution without an amendment process. We're going to let the president veto a negative vote. They allowed him to submit the treaty to Congress, and all they could do was vote against it. And of course, on the Senate side, the 42 Democrats lined up and refused to even allow it to come to a vote. On the House side, they voted against it, but then the president was allowed to veto that as a negative vote. And they was going to take 2/3 of the members of the House of Representatives and the Senate to override that. Now, what does that mean for the future? Well, that means the Constitution has basically, like I said, been turned upside down. Because a president can now go to Congress and submit legislation, let's say on gun control, confiscate all firearms in this country, submits it to the Congress votes it down, doesn't pass it, and the president then vetoes that vote, and 2/3 of the Congress will have to override that veto, or the president can do what he wants. So, that's a ridiculous situation that we've been put in here, and we've been put into this by this Congress and a lawless administration. That's one of the things we're working on. Another thing that we're working on at the U.S. Justice Foundation is the situation with veterans and the Second Amendment right. Veterans are getting letters from the VA, and this has been going on for years. I broke this story about 2.5 years ago, and been working with veterans ever since. And veterans are being told that they are going to be declared incompetent by the VA to handle their own financial affairs because of physical or mental disabilities. And then they're told that once they're declared incompetent, they can no longer own, purchase, possess, or transport firearms or ammunition. If they do, they're guilty of a felony. Then they are taken and put on the NICS list, which is the National Institute of Criminal Background Check list, run by the FBI. They're put on there classified as mentally ill to the point of being a danger to themselves or others. We estimate now that 200,000 veterans are on that list, and 99.9% of them belong there. They've been classified as mentally defective or incompetent for minor PTSD issues because they may at some time have been depressed over the loss of a buddy in combat or something like that. And I got all this in writing. They're being classified as mentally or incompetent to handle their own affairs and mentally incompetent because they let their spouses pay the family bills, or because they have their bills paid automatically out of their checking account every month. We have a veteran right here in Texas, in the area where I live, and I've seen the paperwork they sent him, where they told him that was the reason they were declaring him incompetent. And he has now been told he cannot own firearms. And we have Senator Charles Grassley and his committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, looking into this. We're working with that committee. Basically, what they determined is that of the people listed on the NICS list that cannot purchase firearms, are prohibited from purchasing firearms legally because they've been declared mentally defective to the point of being a danger to themselves or others, 99.3% of them are veterans. Now, we've been working on this
That's
for
crazy.
a long time. And about 6 months ago, I predicted that they were being so successful with this program, they were going to expand it. I mean, the federal government. And they were going to go after Social Security recipients. Well, about a month and a half ago, the Los Angeles Times broke the story that in fact said I was correct, and they were going to go after Social Security recipients, declare them incompetent to handle their own Social Security payments, and put them on the NICS list, prohibit them from owning firearms. The members of the House of Representatives wrote to the Social Security Administration and said, "Are you really going to do this?" And the response they got was, "Well, of course we're going to do it, but not to everybody." So the Second Amendment in this country is under total assault. Now, I'm a veteran. I have two sons that are currently serving in the military. This is very important to me. My father was a World War II veteran. I've written a best-selling book about his unit during World War II. We go all the way back to the Revolutionary War in my family. And here we have our own country turning against us and telling us that they're going to violate the constitutional rights, our constitutional rights, that we put our lives on the line to defend. So this is a very important thing to me. There are 23 million veterans out there. We all took the same oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That oath doesn't expire. It doesn't go away just because I'm no longer on active duty in the military. I live by that oath. The other 23 million veterans out there, for the most part, feel the same way about that oath. So we are, in effect, a danger to anybody in this country who wants to turn this nation away from being a constitutional republic and to being some kind of dictatorship. They have to disarm us. This is what Adolf Hitler did when he took power in Germany. One of the first things he did was start disarming the German public, beginning with the veterans of World War I who had taken a similar oath of office that we take in this country. So this is something that people need to be aware of, that they are coming after us, and they're doing it outside of the law. Congress has never authorized them to do what they're doing, but the VA, we've actually filed Freedom of Information Act requests to a number of federal agencies to try to get information out of this. We have found out that the VA is involved, VATF is involved, the FBI is involved, the Department of Homeland Security is involved, and now the Social Security Administration is involved.
Well, now, is there anything that you and others can do to try to prevent these violations that the government is doing?
Well, right now we're telling veterans who are being affected by this to contact us. We are representing these veterans for free. We're not charging them or their families anything. We raise our money independently, and we're spending a whole lot of money on this right now. So if people want to donate to USJF, they can go to USJF.net to help us out. But if the veterans are out there being affected by this, they can contact me directly at michael@usjfmail.net. It's michael@usjfmail.net, because we have prepared information to help them appeal this. Now, here's another problem with all this. There's no due process here. The veterans get these letters telling them that they're going to be declared incompetent, and they have 60 days to prove they're competent. The government is saying the burden of proof is on the veterans to prove they're competent, not on the government to prove they're incompetent. So they're getting these things in the mail, and they can go to see a psychologist or psychiatrist, because most of them have never even seen one at the VA. So this is not based on any medical information. It's strictly based on bureaucratic decisions. So they have to go get people that will sign letters saying they're competent. Then they have to file those. Then the VA will take its time and sometimes respond in a few months, sometimes a couple of years. Then if the veteran is ruled incompetent, most of the time they are, they can appeal. But the burden of proof is on them again in the appeal. And the appeal process may take up to 3 years. And here's what we found out has been happening. And this is extortion, pure and simple. Veterans are being told that if you appeal, we are going to suspend the payment of your benefits during the course of the appeal.
Now,
So
that's crazy.
That's right. They can't exercise their constitutional rights.
But Michael, this is going on in several different areas, and I'm equating it to something close to a cancer that's been going on for the last 7 years. It continues to grow and grow, and each one of these issues have been overwhelming for the public to try to not only understand, but to know what to do in reaction to it. What you're doing and the kind of lawsuits that you're involved with and the communications that you're doing is extremely critical. And just like you were talking about the World War I, World War II, and the disarmament, it's the old classic. If you don't understand history, you're going to doom to repeat it. And this happened time after time. The communists did it, and the same thing at Eastern Europe, and on and on and on. And it's worked because the people were complacent and said, "Oh, they wouldn't do that." And it's something that's very alarming to me. And as a 3 enlistment veteran myself, and the questions in the years that I served in the legislature, taking that same oath to protect it not only against foreign enemies, but one against the domestic as well. And we've got more terrorists right now in the government that is causing all of these problems, and it's just an insidious thing. And one thing I want to mention that's even worse is that the thing like the Justice Department and others, the individuals that are in those slots that are government political appointees, are dropping out of that category and becoming civil servants, so that if in 2016 we elect a new president, he's going to have a terrible trouble trying to unscramble the eggs that are being created by these people. And it's something that what you're doing is absolutely essential, and I can't illustrate any more my personal feelings about it and what's happening with the veterans. We've got a situation in Jefferson County here in Kentucky that I won't even get into at this time, but it's the same kind of process where the bureaucratic structure is eating at every one of the veterans, and that's only one of many areas, like you're mentioning the Social Security and other things that are happening, and it's only the type of thing they constantly get away with, and the members of Congress have been deaf, dumb, and blind to what's going on. All they care about is their re-election.
Exactly, and most people don't know what's happening out there. I make speeches, and I'm available to make speeches all over the country about this, and I've been making a lot of them, and I talk to groups. I talk to conservative political groups, Republican groups, Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, gun collectors, all over the country, and I talk about this, and most people in the audience react with disbelief. They don't not believe what I'm saying. They just can't believe they haven't heard about this on the national news. Now, we had the Daily Caller recently broke this story, and WorldNet Daily has been working with us on the story from the beginning. But as far as, at one point I was contacted by NBC, and they wanted to know about this, and we gave them all this information, and they suddenly dropped it, obviously under orders from the Obama administration, because NBC is the propaganda order for the Obama administration, one of them out there. So people need to know about this. And we are, as I said, working with individual veterans. We're helping them prepare their appeals, do their paperwork, because here's how this is getting worse every day. Veterans are also contacting me and telling me that their families are now being told by the VA, since you live with a veteran who's been declared incompetent, family members can't own firearms either. We also have veterans who we've been successful in getting the incompetency ruling reversed, and they go to the FBI to get taken off the NICS list, and the FBI tells them, drop dead, we're not going to take you off.